Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Simranjeet Mann here, and I am a trainee solicitor for a UK top 20 law firm. I make videos that help aspiring solicitors with getting a training contract, as well as general careers advice, personal development, and vlogging my journey to becoming a solicitor and beyond. Now today we are going to be talking about how to reach out to people on LinkedIn. I've already done a video on creating your LinkedIn profile, making sure it's impressive. I even had my LinkedIn profile reviewed by this AI website. So if this is something that interests you, head over to the link above. However, in this video, what we're going to be talking about is actually the act of reaching out to people on LinkedIn. That's essentially what LinkedIn is all about. And this video is going to be 5 easy tips that you can implement when reaching out or wanting to reach out to individuals. So the first tip I would say for reaching out to individuals on LinkedIn is look out for insightful posts on your feed. So a lot of LinkedIn nowadays has become a lot of flexing, like I've got this vacation scheme, or I've got this open day and stuff like that. When you filter past those posts, sometimes you'll get posts where people are actually genuinely sharing information, they are sharing tips, something that may resonate with you. For example, I did a tip, for example, about name and identity, and it did quite well on LinkedIn. And the number of messages I got after that for people just engaging in conversation, just continuing the conversation, has been absolutely fantastic. And that's one way in which you can also reach out to people on LinkedIn. You can send them a message and say, hi, I saw your recent post on XYZ. It really resonated with me, or I have a couple of questions on it because could you please answer? That kind of thing. And then it kind of just sparks up the conversation and you can have a really healthy discussion about a topic that you're really interested in. Now, this leads on to my next point about posting on LinkedIn. If you are an active poster on LinkedIn, people will DM you. So let me give you an example of this. I've become an active poster on LinkedIn for about a year now, maybe more than a year. And the number of connection requests that I've had has probably increased by around 5k, if I'm really honest with you. And the number of DMs I get, I'm pretty sure I get around 2 to 3 DMs from new individuals every day on LinkedIn. Now, the main reason for this is because I've been actively posting. People are always seeing my posts on their timeline, and I've somehow kind of built this, I guess, an image of someone who has a bit of an awareness about the training contract process, placed myself as an individual who people can go to if they have any questions, and thus I get quite a few DMs come in pretty much every day. And that's one way in which you can also build your presence and allow people to reach out to you on LinkedIn. If you're an active poster, for example, say about the training contract process, about entrepreneurship, about productivity, people will come to you for advice on those specific topics because you have shown yourself to be a trusted individual in that particular area. Now, I mentioned earlier about LinkedIn kind of being a flex kind of thing, and there's nothing wrong with talking about your achievements on LinkedIn. That can really get you noticed by grad recruitment. However, when you're thinking about things to post, really think about what can actually be of value to your connections. So if you learned something recently, if you learned something via your job, or if you just had a recent highlight in life or an epiphany moment that you just want to talk about, post about it on LinkedIn. If you feel like it's relevant to professional development, if you feel like it's relevant to the workplace, definitely talk about it, because LinkedIn is that space for you to do that. Some people I know actually did a 30-day challenge on LinkedIn where they post on LinkedIn every day for a whole month. And all of them, from what I've kind of gathered, have had really positive insights into this. They've really kind of built their own brand as being someone within that specific field, as that kind of go-to person, because they have a lot to say. And a lot of people have basically just kind of talked about how when they've posted on such a regular basis, so many people have reached out to them. And also when it comes to reaching out to other people, they have that credibility to reach out to people, and they have that confidence to reach out to other people because they've been actively posting on LinkedIn and putting themselves out there anyway. Now, for these people who posted every single day on LinkedIn, of course you may be thinking, how do they not run out of ideas? So one thing that could really help with this is journaling. If you journal, perhaps, I don't do journaling, if I'm honest with you, but I do make notes of certain things that have happened throughout my week that I feel like are a highlight or something to talk about later on, either for a blog or a LinkedIn post or a video. So definitely, if something happens to you in the week, make note of it, because that could be a potential post idea for you on LinkedIn. My next tip for reaching out on LinkedIn, if you come across someone, for example, who you really want in your connections, don't just send them a connection invite, send them a personalized invitation. I tend to read every single personalized invitation I receive on LinkedIn. They tend to actually receive a better response. For example, a lot of people just message me saying, hey, I absolutely love your content on YouTube. And I sometimes reply back saying, well, if you've got any questions, feel free to shout. And then that person has now built a relationship with someone who they feel like they can ask questions with about law, about the training contract process. That's one way in which personalized requests are really, really useful, because that person ends up replying back to you and then you can kind of build the conversation from there. So, and also, I guess for certain people as well, they only accept requests from people when the invitation has been personalized. So to actually increase the chances of that person accepting your request in the first place, sending personalized invitations is the way to go. Now, a lot of people are scared to ask or reach out to people in the first place, and I guess this relates to my next tip about biting the bullet. If you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't put yourself out there, you don't know the possibilities or the opportunities you can achieve. And I know that putting yourself out there is difficult. I think for me, my first LinkedIn post was the most difficult. The first time I reached out to someone on LinkedIn was difficult. That's what I would really recommend, is just one day just biting the bullet and just putting yourself out there and asking a question to someone, for example, or putting a post on LinkedIn. Because the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Now think about when you are messaging someone, technically there's no harm or there's nothing that really bad that can happen from that, if that makes sense. The worst that can happen is that person just doesn't reply, or they ghost you, or they decline to help you out. So it's really not that deep. It's, as long as you approach someone in a professional manner, you ask a valid question or have something valid to say, I honestly don't believe that it's a problem to reach out to people on LinkedIn if you wish. Now, my final tip for reaching out to people on LinkedIn is don't copy and paste messages to individuals of the same team or the same firm, because we will know about it, basically. Let's just say that. There's no point sending a generalized copied and pasted message to, for example, to every single member of grad recruitment of a firm. They will know about it and it won't create the best impression for you. So if you are going to message someone on LinkedIn, do it with the intention of you are messaging that person specifically because of something that they've posted or because of their experiences, rather than just sending the same generalized copied and pasted message to everyone. I promise you that will not create the best impression of you. All right, so those are my tips for reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Now, if you do find someone that you are, you're really interested in their experiences or their post, definitely do take that element of reaching out. Check your spelling and your grammar beforehand, obviously. Make sure you are approaching them in a professional manner. Obviously, ending your messages, for example, say hi, make sure you spell their first name right, and then kind regards with your name. That's kind of like a quick speed tour into my tips for reaching out to people on LinkedIn, finding people to reach out, what to talk about, and what not to do. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. See you all in the next one.